Hey, it's Sandra from Asexualise.com and author of Asexual Perspectives, out on Amazon. So recently I developed some strong feelings for a guy, and I had to break friends with him because he decided to emotionally blackmail me, which was not good. Me and him both felt more than friendship for each other, and to be honest, the friendship had been getting deeper and deeper over time. So yeah, it wasn't just a friendship in the sense of feelings, but officially it was just a friendship, if you know what I mean, because we couldn't be together anyway, which was part of the problem. I mean, he lived in another country and was younger than I would usually be interested in, and his circumstances is very different to mine. But it was really, really tough, but not as tough as it usually would be in the past. So what happened, I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole story because it would just take like forever. But basically, we became friends on Twitter. He then went over to one of my business pages, not my asexual business page, but one of my other business pages, Quirky Academy, actually it was. And he used to, comment on pretty much all of my stuff on there, all of my posts. And then he became my personal Facebook friend, probably around the beginning of April, I think. And yeah, that's when things started to get quite intense, and when I started to have more feelings than I should have done for him, and it would seem he was the same with me. And basically we developed this really strong sort of connection, bond, friendship, and it was like bestest ever friends. And we messaged pretty much daily. He was, sort of with me, even though he wasn't with me, but he treated me like a girlfriend, even though we weren't. And when we first started being friends on Facebook, it was like that almost instantly. But it was not nice for me in the sense that I began to have quite strong feelings for him, and I'm like, well, why are you treating me like a girlfriend? Because the way you're speaking to me is like you speak to a girlfriend, like you're my boyfriend, when you're not. So that became very confusing, because then he started to say, well, I love you as a friend. Well, first of all, he said I love you, and then tagged as a friend onto the end of it. And then I got very confused as to whether he loved me as a friend or more romantically. And then eventually it ended up him saying I love you and more than a friend. And in the very end, what we had to split up with for, I mean, there was a lot of complications. So he was like, I can't Skype chat with you because I can't do that with my circumstances. And he wanted to kind of, sort of video chat only at times that he could do, which I can't do with all my work, etc. And I think if a guy really likes you, then they'll make the effort. So it wasn't that he wasn't wanting to chat to me, it was just more on his terms. And also he had his exams, but he cut off from me majority of 2 weeks. I mean, for 5 days he didn't even speak to me, but he was on my social media following my posts and commenting on stuff, so he was more concerned about what other people thought of him commenting on stuff publicly than him bothering to private message me, when he could have used that time to private message me just to say hi, how you doing. So that's when it started to kind of go wrong, when he just said, oh, I'm doing my exams now, which he was doing before anyway. I'm not going to speak to you from now until my exams, which is 2 weeks. I know it's going to upset you, but basically that's it. And I don't think that's nice, You shouldn't be calling the shots like that in any friendship relationship. Yeah, you've got to take more time out to study and everything. But if you're the type of person that's taking time out for social media anyway and commenting and liking, the least you can do if you're really romantically interested in someone is to private message them and see how they're doing. I mean, it takes 5 minutes of your time up. When you're studying, you still need breaks. You've still got to have breaks. I know that. I used to be in education for absolute years. And I still do a lot of online education now. And I have to take breaks. I'm not going to be studying 24/7 every single minute minute of the day, because you have to have breaks, and that means chatting to people a bit as well, just to get some social activity going on, even if it's minor. So yeah, that was, you know, a bit like it was all on his terms. And then he asked me 2 questions, like, I love you, do you love me in the way I love you, and what do you think of me? Like, I already answered him the question that it doesn't really matter what feelings I have for him. We can't be together, so there's absolutely no point anyway. Although I did tell him how I felt about him, which was some love feelings, quite deeper. But, you know, I just like, well, it doesn't really matter. Nothing's going to happen. You're not going to come over here. You've got studying to do for like 3 years. Then he was on about staying in his country for a bit. I'm not waiting around for any guy. And I told him that I would not be exclusive to any guy and that I would not wait around for a guy, which, you know, he's then going, well, no other guys will like you, like, you know, love you like the way I do, which is quite a classic thing. It's a little bit, you know, it can be 2 ways. That 1, you can think it's really nice, and 2, it can be controlling, like you can't get anyone else better than me type thing. So you've got to really watch that. That's a first sign of, one of the first signs of control. And well, in my case, it's probably the second sign, because obviously the exams were on his terms. Like, I'm just going to cut off from you for like 2 weeks, you know. After 5 days, mind you, he was saying, oh, I can't leave you, I can't cut off from you. But, you know, it's like, it's all on his terms. This is not good. You know, I recognise some of these controlling signs, you know. It's really not good when someone's calling the shots and wanting a relationship anyhow, friendship, relationship, on their terms. It shouldn't be like that. So I didn't reply in these messages. I was like, a bit like, well, I've already replied to one message. You've asked me this question, the love question, once before, and now you want me to know what I think of you, and that's a very, very long story. Because when I first met him, he wasn't that nice a person. Like, he's very egotistical, and not particularly nice, quite arrogant. And then as I got to know him on my business page, he warmed up a bit, and then as a friend, I really warmed to his heart that no one else really saw. And he was like saying, oh, I don't have any friends, or not real friends, and all the rest of it, which you don't know how much that is true or not. So to cut a long story short, because I didn't answer his 2 messages within 24 hours, he then decided to go friend one of my friends, which I found out about. And I'm like, why are you friending that person? You've no need to be friends with them. And I thought it's because he's attracted to older women and that he was interested in her. I mean, otherwise, why would he friend her? And why would he not, why would he not tell me he was friends with her in the first place anyway? Why did I have to just find out? And then he said that he friended her because he wanted to know about me. And it was all to do with me, right? So, yeah, I told him to produce the messages, you know. Forward me the messages that you sent to her in Messenger. And he couldn't. So, you know this guy's not telling the truth when he says that, right? And why is he talking to a friend about me anyway? He goes, oh, because you didn't reply to my messages when I was messaging you. You know, you don't go doing stuff like that. You know, imagine if I went and did that to him or someone. Oh, well, that person's not messaged me. I'll just go and friend one of their friends. It's like using their friend. It's not very nice, is it? And so, and so I said, well, where's the, where's the message? Oh, I just said hi. I mean, why did he just say hi? You know, what's his intention? So it's just rubbish. And then it was just like things didn't seem to ring true in other areas. And then he turned around and said to me, well, I'll unfriend her, providing you promise to reply to my messages all the time from now on. You know, you promise to reply to every message I send you. You know? And that is emotional blackmail. It's basically saying that if you don't reply to every message as and when I want, then I will just go and friend women and talk to them. That's what it's basically saying. You know, so it sucks. It's horrible. It's not nice. It's just emotional manipulation. So I just have to think that the past with him is the past. The boy I thought was quite nice. He's obviously not that nice a person in some ways. That's why he hasn't got many friends. And I'm better off without him in my life so I can get good people in my life. So as soon as he said that emotional blackmail statement, that was it. Blocked on Facebook, blocked on Twitter. And then he had a second Facebook account I blocked. Now, This guy doesn't realise that he's still connected to me on one of my Twitter accounts, which I could just block him as well, but he obviously hasn't worked that out yet. And he also follows me on my other YouTube channel, which I don't usually stop people from following me on my other channels, but he hasn't commented as far as I know. I haven't checked for a while. So yeah, it might not be the last I actually see of this guy, but I've remained strong. And he's like, oh, you can't leave me forever and all the rest of it. I'm like, I still want your help and advice. Can you believe that? After all he put me through, because I told him that my friend wasn't speaking to me, because at the time she wasn't. You know, she said, got back to me and said she's been really busy, because I'm like, why are you friends with him? Has he friended you, and what's gone on? And I was telling her the situation. And, you know, and she wasn't speaking to me for a bit. And I'm like, well, we've been friends for 5 years. And I thought it's because he'd caused some trouble. And he didn't care about that. He didn't care that, you know, my 5-year relationship with my friend, in-person friend, I have to add, in-person friend, could be ruined because of him and whatever he'd said. All he cared about was himself. And he still had the gall to say, oh, I still want your help and advice. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. So I felt really used by him in the end. And I was glad that I got rid of all that drama out of my life. I just feel a bit sad that I've, you know, of the grief of the connection that I once had, the bestest ever friend. But I've got other friends, and I'm sure I'll get a really good guy for me, my bestest ever friend again. He'll be out there. And because I got rid of the guy that wasn't right for me, it leaves way for the good guy to come along. So that's the message I want to take. That is the message I want you to take away. If someone begins emotionally blackmailing you, however difficult it is, just cut off from them, because it is not worth it. This person is controlling you and manipulating you, and however much they've sugar-coated their existence before and you thought they were great, just think that guy's in the past. Not a very long past in this case, but he's in the past. I stayed in an abusive relationship for years with my ex because I always thought he would go back to being the guy I loved originally. The guy that I thought was my soulmate. This is a guy I was with for 8.5 years. And no, he wasn't foreign. He was English, British, you know. And it was a huge chunk of my life that I don't like to talk about. But I do talk about it because it's the last long-term serious relationship I ever had in my life. So in 2011 it ended. Thank goodness I'm out of mental prison now, and that's where I'm going to stay. So, you know, as soon as I saw those emotional blackmail tactics, that was it. You know, I was out of there like a shot. I'm not prepared to sacrifice my time, my energy, and my life and waste it on someone like that. You know, he should have been grateful and thankful that I cared about him as much as I did, and I did help him and support him as much as I did, you know. So anyway, that's him. He's out of my life. I've just been grieving a delayed grief reaction for the loss of the besties ever friend connection, like messaging every day, conversation flowing. Hadn't had that for a very long time with a guy, and that's what hurt, like, you know, sort of missing that, just that element. But obviously, you know, once you start the emotional blackmail stuff, you can't go back then, because you know that he's trying to trap you and that he's not really an equal friend of yours. He's only thinking of himself and his own needs and using you as an object, basically, of possession. So yeah, get these people out of your life. If you are seeing anything that's controlling, be very aware. If a lot of things are controlling, get the heck out of there. If you see anything that's emotional blackmail, a whiff of it, just don't bother with it. It is not worth the hassle, I tell you. However awesome other things may have seemed. Anyway, I know it's been a very difficult video, this one, to do for you to watch probably as well, but I wanted to tell you the truth about things. It's really important you know what to look out for in terms of emotional blackmail, some of the control tactics, even very subtle control tactics that some people may use to get you and keep you as theirs. Until next time, embrace your quirky and each other. I want to say thank you so much for over 200 subscribers. I'll be doing a special video about that. And I want to say, please share this with a friend. If you've got a friend who you think would benefit from this video, please share it with them. Subscribe if you're not currently subscribed. Don't forget, I do a newsletter, a free newsletter for asexuals every fortnight. I usually do this, and the link to it is down below, so please join my newsletter for free. Please subscribe and get your friends to subscribe. If you haven't checked out my book yet, check it out on Amazon, Asexual Perspectives. Just type it in. It's a bright orange and purple cover. You cannot miss it, and it'll answer many of the asexual questions you've got. All the answers are in that book. Honestly, it is your prayer answered in that book. Tons and tons of different questions about, you know, attractions, arousal, relationships, you know, coming out as asexual, what it's like, and, you know, advice and guidance from real asexuals who have lived and loved and have help to share with you. Just check it out, it's really good. And if you're looking for a new t-shirt, don't forget to check out Asexualise on Amazon.com and Redbubble.com. So, until next time, embrace your quirky and each other's. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And thank you very much. I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.